Hi everyone, welcome to Ava Revenge Whispers. The reflection in my mirror showed dark circles under my eyes, but for once I didn't care. Today wasn't about me. It was about Charlotte's 8th birthday, and I'd be damned if I let anything ruin it, even if that meant enduring 3 hours of Sophia's snide remarks about my quaint decorations and modest lifestyle. I'm Camila, and for the past 5 years I've been raising my daughter alone. While my ex-husband James plays occasional weekend dad between business trips and his new girlfriends, the birthday parties are always the worst. That's when his whole family descends like perfectly coiffed vultures, especially his sister Sophia. "Mommy, is Aunt Sophia really coming?" Charlotte asked, peeking into my bedroom. Her princess dress sparkled in the morning light, and my heart melted at the sight of her gap-toothed smile. "Yes, baby, but don't worry about her. Today is your special day." I adjusted her tiara, pushing aside thoughts of last year's disaster. When Sophia had commented loudly about how second-hand party supplies show such admirable resourcefulness, the doorbell rang at exactly 2 p.m. Sophia always arrived first, probably to get in her initial round of jabs before the other guests arrived. "Camila, darling." She air-kissed both my cheeks, her designer perfume overwhelming my senses. "This is different." Her eyes swept across the living room. I'd spent hours decorating with an enchanted forest theme. Very DIY though. "I suppose that's all the rage now among the budget-conscious." I forced a smile. Charlotte helped design everything herself. Of course she did. Sophia's perfectly manicured hand waved dismissively, though. "If you'd accepted Mom's offer to host at the country club." Charlotte wanted the party at home. I cut her off, my voice steady. Despite the familiar anger, bubbling up the next hour was a blur of arriving guests, excited children, and carefully orchestrated games. I caught Sophia's supportive glance from across the room as she helped serve cake. She knew how much I was holding back. "Oh my God, is that the same dress you wore to last year's Christmas dinner?" Sophia's voice carried across the room as I was setting up the pin theta game. "I admire how you make things last." Several parents turned to look, and I felt my cheeks burn. But before I could respond, my phone buzzed with a text from Henry. "Meeting confirmed, investors ready." "This is it, Ka." I smiled, sliding the phone back into my pocket. Let Sophia have her moment in 6 months. Everything would be different. "Mommy, can we do presents now?" Charlotte tugged at my sleeve, her eyes bright with excitement. "Of course, sweetheart." I gathered everyone around the gift table, deliberately ignoring Mia's theatrical sigh when she saw the modest pile of presents. "Here's mine." First, Sophia announced, producing an enormous box wrapped in designer paper. "Every little girl deserves something special." Charlotte's eyes widened as she unwrapped the latest gaming console, the one I told her we couldn't afford right now. "I know your mom said no." Sophia stage whispered to Charlotte, "But Aunt Sophia knows what little girls really want." The room went quiet. I could feel Sophia teasing beside me, ready to intervene. But I touched her arm gently. "Thank you, Sophia," I said calmly. "That's very generous." "Well, someone has to be," she replied with a saccharine smile. "We can't all be satisfied with mediocrity." Later, as the last guests were leaving, I overheard Sophia on her phone in the hallway.
"Daddy."
"What do you mean?" "The meeting was cancelled. The Singapore deal has to go through Daddy." She caught me watching and quickly composed herself. But I'd seen the flash of panic in her eyes. Something was wrong in the perfect Whitfield world, and suddenly the text from Henry felt even more significant. That night, after tucking Charlotte into bed with her new console, which I decided to let her keep, I wouldn't use my daughter as a pawn. I sat in my kitchen with a glass of wine and my laptop. The business plan Henry and I had been working on for months glowed on the screen. Our investors were ready. The patents were nearly approved, and timing, as they say, is everything. "Just you wait, Sophia," I whispered to my empty kitchen. "Just you wait." My phone lit up with another text from Henry. "You won't believe what I just heard about Whitfield Industries." I smiled, took a sip of wine, and clicked reply. The game was about to change, and for once I had all the right cards. The numbers looked solid. Henry said, sliding the financial projections across his desk. "But there's something you need to know about the Whitfield situation." I leaned forward in my chair, remembering Mia's panicked phone call at their Therese's party. Tell me their Singapore deal is falling apart. My contact in their legal department says Eugene's been making desperate moves, trying to cover massive losses. Henry lowered his voice. They're on the verge of collapse.
Camila.
The irony wasn't lost on me 5 years ago. When James left, his family had made sure I walked away with nothing but my daughter and my dignity. Now their empire was crumbling. What about our investment timeline? I asked, trying to keep my voice neutral. We could move forward now, but Henry hesitated. If we wait 3 months, we might be able to acquire their distribution network for pennies on the dollar. My phone buzzed a text from Charlotte's school.
Mommy.
I forgot my lunch.
Can you bring it?
I need to run. I told Henry. Charlotte forgot her lunch. He smiled. Knowingly go, we'll finish this. Later, driving to Charlotte's school, my mind wandered to the day James left. I'd been making lunch then, too, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for Charlotte's preschool. I can't do this anymore, he'd said, standing in our kitchen with a packed suitcase, the pressure from my family, this modest life. I need more. More than your daughter, I'd asked. But he was already walking out the door. The school secretary smiled as I walked in with Therese's lunch bag. She's such a wonderful child, she said, always helping the other kids. I found Charlotte in the cafeteria, sitting alone. My heart clenched. Baby, what's wrong? I sat beside her. Jenny said, I can't sit with them because Aunt Sophia told her Mom we're poor. Charlotte's bottom lip trembled. Are we poor, Mommy? I pulled her close. No, sweetheart. We have everything we need, and soon we'll have even more up. But why does Aunt Mia say those mean things? Some people think money makes them better than others. I explained. But true wealth isn't in your wallet. It's in your heart.
My phone buzzed again.
This time it was Sophia. You won't believe what I just overheard at the country club, she said, when I called her back in the car. Sophia was arguing with her father about selling her house. Things must be worse than we thought. How bad? Bad enough that she was crying in the bathroom about having to cancel her trip to Paris. I pulled into my office parking lot. Thoughts racing. The satisfaction I'd expected to feel wasn't there. Instead, I felt an uncomfortable mix of vindication and pity. Back at my desk, I found an email from our patent attorney. Final approval expected within 60 days. Proceed with investor meetings. My finger hovered over the reply button. When Henry knocked on my door, Eugene Whitfield is asking about selling their warehouse space, he said. Without preamble, they're desperate for quick cash. The same warehouse space we were planning to lease. He nodded at tripler budget, but if we wait, we could buy it outright. When they crash. I finished his thought exactly, but Camila. Henry sat down. Are you sure you want to play this game? Revenge might feel good now, but this isn't about revenge. I interrupted. This is business. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. We need to talk, Sophia. I showed Henry the message. He raised an eyebrow. What are you going to do? Before I could answer, another text came through. Please, it's about Charlotte's trust fund. My hands clenched. The trust fund. James's family had promised. Charlotte, then conveniently lost in paperwork after the divorce. I should get back to work, Henry said, standing. Just remember who you are. Camila, don't let them change that. After he left, I stared at Sophia's text. 5 years of snide comments, social humiliation, and watching my daughter cry because of their cruelty flashed through my mind. My phone buzzed one more time. A photo from Charlotte. She'd drawn our family portrait in art class. Just the 3 of us holding hands with a rainbow above our heads. Love you, Mommy. I picked up my phone and typed a reply to Mia. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. my office. The game was changing, but I needed to decide what winning really meant. As I looked at Charlotte's drawing again, I realized this wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about rewriting our future. Sophia was 15 minutes late to our meeting, but her usual confidence was missing when she walked into my office. Her designer clothes looked immaculate as always, but her eyes were rimmed red coffee. I offered more out of habit than hospitality.
No.
She smoothed her skirt, sitting down. Thank you for meeting me. I waited, letting the silence stretch uncomfortably. It's about Charlotte's trust fund. She finally said, "There's been a complication." "You mean the trust fund that mysteriously vanished after James left?" I kept my voice neutral. "The one your mother said must have been lost in the market."
Crash.
Sophia flinched. "We never meant to." My phone rang. It was Charlotte's school again. "Ms. Fletcher, Charlotte's running a fever. Could you come get her?" "I'll be right there." I stood up. "We'll have to continue this another time." "Wait." Sophia grabbed my arm. "Please, Daddy's business. We're in trouble, real trouble, and I know you're working on something big with Henry." I carefully removed her hand. "I need to get my daughter, your daughter." She laughed bitterly. "She's my niece Camilla. Family, despite everything family." I turned back where was family when Charlotte needed her father. "When your mother told everyone at church I was a gold digger when you." My phone buzzed with a text from Sophia Market. "Rumors about Whitfield Industries getting worse, stock down 30% today." Sophia's phone chimed at the same time. The color drained from her face as she read whatever message she'd received. "I have to go," I said, grabbing my purse. "Charlotte needs me." "That's just it." Sophia called after me. "You always had what I never did, a child who actually needs you." I paused at the door. "What Daddy never needed me. Lucas never listened to me. Even Mother just uses me for social appearances." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "But Charlotte, she lights up when she sees you. Do you know what that's worth?" Before I could respond, Henry burst in. "Sorry to interrupt, but you both need to see this." He turned on the office. LED TV, a business news anchor, was mid-report. Sources confirm Whitfield Industries CEO Eugene Whitfield has taken an emergency leave of absence amid allegations of financial impropriety. Sophia collapsed into the chair, her perfectly manicured hands shaking as she pulled out her phone. "Daddy's not answering." My phone buzzed again. Charlotte's school, wondering where I was. "I have to go," I said. "Firmly, please." Sophia whispered, "Help me understand what's happening." For a moment, I saw past the designer clothes and practiced superiority to the scared little girl beneath. "But Charlotte needed me. Henry will explain what he can. I have to get my daughter." In the car, Sophia called, "Did you see the news? Are you okay?" "I'm fine, just getting Charlotte from school." "And Sophia?"
Did she beg?"
I thought about the tears in Sophia's eyes, something like that. "Don't let her manipulate you," Sophia warned. "Remember what she did at Lucas's wedding." I did remember. Sophia had made sure I wasn't invited, then sent me photos of Charlotte dancing with her father and his new bride. At school, Charlotte was curled up in the nurse's office, her cheeks flushed with fever. "Mommy," she mumbled as I gathered her in my arms. "Can we go home?" "Of course, baby." As I carried her to the car, my phone lit up with a message from James. "The first in months. Is it true about Dad's company?" I ignored it at home. After settling Charlotte with medicine and her favorite cartoon, I checked my emails. The patent attorney had sent final approval documents. Our investors were ready to move, and Whitfield Industries stock had dropped another 15%. "Mommy," Charlotte called weakly from the couch. "Will you tell me a story?" I sat beside her, stroking her hair. "Once upon a time," I began, "there was a princess who thought she had everything." "Was she pretty like Aunt Sophia?" I paused. "She was beautiful on the outside, but she had to learn that true beauty comes from how you treat others." "Did she learn?" My phone buzzed with another text from Sophia. "I know I don't deserve your help, but I'm asking anyway." "I don't know yet, baby." I told Charlotte the story isn't over as Charlotte drifted off to sleep. I thought about Sophia's tears, about revenge and karma, about the fine line between justice and cruelty. The power I dreamed of having was finally in my hands. The question was, what kind of ending did I want to write? The morning news was brutal. Eugene's face plastered across every business channel. The word fraud in bold letters beneath his photo. I turned off the LED TV when Charlotte came down for breakfast. "Are you feeling better,
"Sweetheart?"
She nodded. Climbing onto her chair, "Is Aunt Sophia okay?" I saw her crying on LED TV. Before I could answer, my phone rang. It was Henry. "Turn on channel 7, he said. Without greeting, "Eugene's wife is giving a statement." I waited until Charlotte left for school before switching the LED TV back on. There stood Emma, Sophia's mother, her usual poise cracking as she faced the reporters. "My husband made some regrettable decisions," she said, her voice trembling. "But we're still a respectable family." These allegations are the feed cut to breaking news. Whitfield Industries announces mass layoffs. My office was chaos. When I arrived, Henry was waiting by my door. 295 employees let go this morning, he said, following me inside. Their warehouse is shutting down next week, the same warehouse we were looking at, he nodded. It gets better. Guess who's been calling me all morning? Sophia, the entire board of directors. They're practically begging for investors. He leaned forward. We could buy the whole company for less than we were going to spend on that warehouse. My phone buzzed. A text from Sophia, "Have you seen this attached?" Was a social media post from Mia's country club. Due to unfortunate circumstances, the annual charity gala will no longer be hosted by the Whitfield family. Another text came through this time from James. "Tell Charlotte. I can't make it this weekend. Things are complicated right now." Some things never change. I muttered. "What are you thinking?" Henry asked before I could answer. "My assistant knocked Ms. Fletcher. Sophia's here. She doesn't have an appointment, but send her in." Sophia looked different. No designer bag, minimal makeup, hair pulled back. "Simply, have you seen the news? Hard to miss?" I replied, "Daddy's gone." Her voice cracked. "He left last night. No one knows where he is." Henry quietly excused himself, closing the door behind him. "Mother's a mess. Lucas won't answer my calls. Everything's falling apart." Sophia sank into a chair. "The press is camped outside my house. They're calling Daddy a thief." "Is he?" She looked up sharply.
Does it matter?
"We're still family. Are we?" I stood up when James left, when I was struggling to keep a roof over their head. "Where was this family you're talking about?" "I know I was awful to you," she whispered. "I was jealous." "Jealous of what?" "You were free, independent. I've never been either of those things." She wiped her eyes. "Even my trust fund was just another way for Daddy to control me." My phone buzzed again. "An email from our investors ready to move on Whitfield acquisition, require immediate response." "I heard rumors about your business venture," Sophia said. "The patents, the investors. You've done amazing things." "Camila, without any help." "I had help, just not from your family." "I know," she stood up, "and I know I don't deserve anything from you, but I'm not asking for me." "Mother, she's talking about selling the house. The house Charlotte visits Lucas in. When he bothers to show up," I couldn't help adding, "please just think about it for Charlotte's sake." After she left, Henry returned.
Well,
I showed him the investor email. "If we move now, we could take everything, but Charlotte loves that house. Her few memories with her father are there." My phone lit up with a text from Charlotte. "Mommy Jenny invited me to sit with her at lunch today. She said she doesn't care what anyone says about us." Henry watched me reading the message. "You know revenge might feel good for a moment, but what lesson does it teach Charlotte?" I thought about Sophia's tears, about Charlotte's innocent joy at making a friend, about the fine line between justice and becoming what we hate. "Call the investors," I said finally, "but not about the acquisition. I have a different proposal in mind." "You're sure?" I nodded, picking up my phone to text Sophia. "Meet me tomorrow. Bring your mother and your lawyer." Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. Sometimes it's about being strong enough to help them when they fall, and making sure they remember who lifted them up. My phone buzzed one last time. Charlotte had sent a heart emoji. That was all the confirmation I needed. The boutique sales assistant raised her eyebrows as I tried on the third designer dress. "This one's our most expensive piece," she said, probably expecting me to balk at the price. "I'll take it," I said, smoothing the silk against my hips. The black dress cost more than my first car, but today wasn't about money. It was about making a statement. My phone buzzed. Henry, confirming the meeting arrangements. In 3 hours I'd face Sophia, Emma, and their lawyers in my office. But first I had another stop to make the mall's luxury wing felt different. Now the same stores where Mia used to parade her wealth, making subtle digs about my budget-conscious choices, now seemed less intimidating. I walked into the designer shoe store with my head high. Those are gorgeous. Sophia said, meeting me there, but are you sure about this meeting? Emma can be manipulative. So can I. I handed my credit card to the cashier. When I need to be back at the office. I changed into my new outfit. The woman in the mirror looked powerful, confident, everything Mia had tried to make me feel. I wasn't. Henry knocked on my door. They're here, and Camila. He paused. Nice dress. They filed into the conference room like a funeral procession. Emma first, her face tight with forced dignity, then Sophia, and finally their lawyer clutching his briefcase like a shield. Thank you for coming,
I said,
taking my seat at the head of the table. Let's talk about the future of Whitfield Industries. Our family business is not up for discussion. Emma snapped. Mother Sophia warned quietly. I opened my laptop. Actually, it is your husband left the country with most of your liquid assets. The company's stock is worthless. You're facing multiple lawsuits and your warehouse employees are about to lose their jobs. And I suppose you're here to gloat. Emma's voice stripped with venom.
No.
I turned my laptop around. I'm here to offer a solution. Their lawyer leaned forward, adjusting his glasses. This is a restructuring proposal. I finished. My company will acquire 35% of Whitfield Industries, will inject enough capital to save the warehouse operations, and settle the immediate lawsuits 35%. Emma looked like she'd swallowed something sour. You want us to give you nearly half our company. I want to save your company. I corrected, and your house. Mia's head snapped up. What the house stays in the family trust for Charlotte. I met Emma's eyes. My daughter deserves to keep some connection to her father's family. Don't you think? The room fell silent? I could almost see the calculations running behind Emma's eyes. Why would you help us? She finally asked. After everything, because Charlotte taught me something you never could. I stood up, smoothing my new dress. True power isn't in making others feel small. It's in choosing when to be big. My phone buzzed. Charlotte's school, appearing on the screen. I answered immediately, my heart jumping. Mommy, Therese's excited voice came through. I got an A on my math test. That's wonderful, baby. I couldn't help smiling. We'll celebrate tonight, okay? When I looked up, Sophia was crying silently. Emma's facade had cracked, showing something that looked almost like shame. The papers are ready, I said, sliding folders across the table. You have until tomorrow to decide. I don't need until tomorrow, Mia said. Suddenly, I'm in. Sophia. Emma protested. No, mother, look at her. Sophia gestured at me. Look at what she's built while we were busy tearing her down.
I want to learn from that.
My phone buzzed again. Quinn asking how it was going. I typed quickly, better than expected. There are conditions, I said, turning back to them. The warehouse workers keep their jobs. The charity gala continues, but under new management, and Charlotte's college fund is reinstated with interest. You drive a hard bargain, their lawyer muttered. Reviewing the papers, I learned from the best. I smiled at Emma. Didn't you always say business is business? As they left an hour later. Paper signed. Sophia lingered behind that dress.
She said,
softly, it looks better on you than it ever did on me. I raised an eyebrow. I saw you buying it. It was mine last season. She smiled sadly. But you wear it differently, like you don't need it to be strong. After they left, Henry brought in champagne to the new partner of Whitfield Industries. He toasted.
No.
I corrected him, thinking of their excited voice, of Sophia's tears, of the long road ahead to teaching our children better than we were taught. My phone lit up with a final text from Mia. Thank you for being the bigger person, for showing me what that looks like. I didn't reply. Some lessons are better taught in silence. The warehouse was eerily quiet as I walked through with Sophia, our heels echoing on the concrete floor. 295 employees would return tomorrow, their jobs secure under the new agreement. I never came here before, Sophia admitted, running her finger along a dusty shelf. Daddy said it wasn't a place for family. Everything is a place for family. When you're fighting to save it. My phone buzzed. James calling. I declined it. He's been trying to reach me too, Sophia said, noticing now that the press has caught wind of the restructuring deal. Of course he has. I checked my watch. The workers arrive in an hour. Are you ready? She straightened her blazer, a simple one, not designer. Do you think they'll hate us? They'll hate your father. You have a chance to show them something different. The warehouse doors opened and Henry walked in with the union representative. Jack, Ms. Fletcher. Jack nodded to me, then turned coldly to Sophia, Ms. Whitfield. Please, she stepped forward. Call me Sophia. I know you have every reason to distrust my family, but save it, he cut her off. 295 families almost lost everything because of your father's greed. And now 295 families get to keep their jobs. I interjected because his daughter chose to do better. My phone buzzed again, this time with a text from Charlotte. Mommy. When is Dad coming to get me this weekend? I showed the message to Sophia, whose face fell. He's in Dubai, she said quietly, trying to secure investors for his new venture. Of course he is, I typed back to Charlotte. How about we have a girls' weekend? Instead, Jack cleared his throat. The workers will want guarantees, real ones, not just promises from another. Whitfield. Show them, I told Sophia. She pulled out a folder. These are the new contracts, guaranteed employment for 3 years with improved benefits and profit sharing. She handed them to Jack, and I'll be working here 3 days a week, learning the operation from the ground up. Jack couldn't hide his surprise in the warehouse. I need to understand what my father never did, that a company is its people, not its profit margins. My phone lit up with a news alert. Whitfield, he partners with Exsister-In-Law to save family business. They're here. Henry called from the door. A crowd of workers was gathering outside ready. Ask Sophia. She squared her shoulders. No, but I'm doing it anyway. The workers filed in faces, guarded, some angry, others afraid. Sophia stepped forward. 5 days ago. I had never set foot in this warehouse, she began. I was too busy buying designer clothes and planning charity galas to care about the people who made our family's wealth possible. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. My father betrayed your trust. He betrayed all of us. But today, thanks to Camila, we have a chance to rebuild, not just the company, but our community. Why should we believe you? Someone called out, because unlike my father, I'm not asking for your trust. Sophia's voice carried clearly. I'm asking for a chance to earn it. Starting today, I'll be working alongside you. Learning from you. My phone buzzed with a text from Emma. The press is asking for a statement about James abandoning his daughter again. I ignored it, watching Mia connect with the workers. One conversation at a time, she was different. Now humbled but determined. Jack approached me. This is real. She's really going to work here, watch her. I replied. She's not her father. By afternoon, the warehouse was humming with activity. Mia had ditched her blazer, helping to inventory stock with a team of workers who'd gradually warmed to her genuine interest in their work. Why did you do it? She asked during a quiet moment. You could have taken everything, destroyed us completely, because Charlotte's watching. I said simply, and she needs to see that strength isn't about crushing others. It's about lifting them up when they fall. My phone chimed with another text from Charlotte. Jenny asked if I can sleep over tonight, can I? As I typed my reply, Sophia touched my arm. Thank you, not just for saving the company, but for showing me what real power looks like. Just remember this feeling, I told her, next time you're tempted to look down on someone. The warehouse doors opened again as another shift of workers arrived. Sophia straightened up, ready to introduce herself, to prove herself to be better than the name she carried. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's showing your enemies a better way to be daddy's back. Charlotte announced at breakfast, showing me her phone. He wants to have dinner with us tonight. I nearly choked on my coffee after 6 weeks of silence. Now he appears. Did Aunt Sophia tell him about the company? Charlotte asked innocently. Probably. Sweetheart. I stroked her hair. Do you want to see him? Before she could answer, my phone rang. Sophia. He's trying to muscle his way back in, she said, without preamble. Lucas is at Mother's house right now, talking about his rightful place in the company. Of course he is. I watched Charlotte finish her seal. How's Emma taking it? She told him to leave. Mia's voice held a hint of pride, said he abandoned his family when we needed him. And now he doesn't get to come back just because we're stable again. My phone bleeped with another call. James, he's calling me now. I told Sophia, don't answer. Come to the warehouse. Instead, there's something you need to see. An hour later, I walked into a transformed warehouse. Gone were the dusty shelves and dim lighting. The space was bright, organized, and humming with energy. Mia stood with a group of workers reviewing shipping schedules. She'd traded her designer wardrobe for practical work clothes. Her perfectly manicured nails, now short and practical, show her, she told the workers. Excitedly, they led me to a new section of the warehouse. The Charlotte Project read a sign above rows of carefully packaged educational supplies. We're partnering with local schools, Mia explained, providing supplies to underprivileged students. The workers came up with the idea and named it after Charlotte. I felt tears threatening. She inspired it after everything you've taught me about what really matters. My phone buzzed again. James answered it.
Sophia said.
It's time I stepped outside and picked up.
Hello.
Lucas. Camila, baby. We need to talk. His voice oozed charm about the company, about us, about starting fresh. There is no us. Lucas, there hasn't been since you walked out 5 years ago. Don't be like that. I've changed. And with the company's new direction. You mean the direction your sister and I created while you were hiding in Dubai? He paused. I have rights. I'm still a Whitfield.
No.
I said firmly. You're just a man who abandoned his daughter. And now that she's older, smarter, and surrounded by strong women who actually show up for her, you don't get to waltz back in. I want to see Charlotte. That's her choice. But the company that's mine in, Sophia's. I hung up and went back inside. Sophia was watching me. He'll try the lawyers.
Next, she said.
Let him. I gestured at the warehouse. We've built something real here, something honest. My phone lit up with a text from Charlotte. Can I have dinner with Dad and Aunt Sophia? I want him to see the warehouse. I showed Sophia the message, smart girl. She smiled, wants him to see what he missed out. On that evening, I watched from my office window. As Charlotte proudly showed James around the warehouse, his expensive suit looked out of place among the workers and shipping crates. Sophia stood nearby, no longer the polished socialite, but a respected leader who knew every worker by name. My phone buzzed. Sophia calling. How's it going? She asked Charlotte's, showing Lucas the warehouse. He looks lost. Good. Let him see what real strength looks like. Through the window, I saw Charlotte pointing out her namesake project to Lucas. His face fell as she explained how it helped kids who couldn't afford school supplies. Remember when you said we were too poor for new notebooks? I heard her ask him as they passed below my window. Now we help other kids get them instead. Sophia caught my eye through the window and nodded. We'd done this, transformed a family legacy of greed into something meaningful. My phone chimed with an email from our lawyers, Mr. Whitfield's attorneys, requesting board meeting deleted. I told my assistant and send them our new company charter instead, the one that requires board members to work in the warehouse. One day a month later, as Charlotte and I drove home, she was quiet. You okay, baby? I asked. Dad seemed different, she said, thoughtfully smaller. Somehow, sometimes people who seem big only look that way because they stand on others. Real strength comes from lifting people up like you and Aunt Sophia do. I smiled exactly like that.
My phone lit up one last time.
A message from Mia. Thank you for showing me how to be bigger than my name sometimes. The biggest victories aren't won through force, but through grace, and sometimes the best revenge is simply living well, standing tall, and showing others how to rise. The autumn breeze carried the sound of laughter from the warehouse courtyard, where employees and their families gathered for the first annual company picnic. Charlotte darted between tables, proudly showing off the new playground equipment her project had funded for the workers' children. Who would have thought? Mia handed me a coffee. Watching the scene, a Whitfield family gathering where no one's wearing designer labels or comparing stock portfolios. Mother's still struggling with the concept, she added, nodding toward Emma, who sat somewhat stiffly at a table with warehouse workers' families actually listening to their stories. My phone buzzed. James again. I declined the call. He's persistent, Sophia noted. He's predictable. I corrected. The company's stock tripled since the restructuring.
Of course he wants. Back in.
Charlotte ran up breathless with excitement. Mom, come see what Jenny's dad made. She pulled me toward a display where Jack, our union representative, stood proudly beside rows of handcrafted wooden toys. The workers started a side project.
Mia explained.
Following us, they're making toys for children's hospitals, using their breaks and staying after shifts. Their choice. Jack added quickly. No overtime required, but why? I asked because you and Sophia showed us what good leadership looks like, he said. Simply, it's contagious. My phone lit up with a text from Sophia. Have you seen the Business Journal article? I pulled it up. Whitfield Industries revolutionized corporate culture, a story of redemption and female leadership. They got it wrong, Sophia said, reading over my shoulder. It's not about female leadership. It's about human leadership. Charlotte tugged my sleeve. Dad's here. Sure enough, James stood at the entrance, looking uncomfortable in his casual attempt at casual clothes. Probably still, designer, just less obvious. I'll handle this. Sophia started forward, but I stopped her. No, let Charlotte handle it. We watched as Charlotte walked to her father, head high, shoulders back, looking so much stronger than her 7 years. You can join us. She told him loud enough for nearby workers to hear, but not in a suit, not as a boss, and not pretending you were here all along. James glanced around, noticing the workers watching. Sweetheart, I'm still your father. I have rights.
Rights.
Charlotte's voice carried clearly, like the right to miss my birthdays, to cancel weekends to make Mom cry. I started forward, but Sophia held me back.
She needs this,
she whispered.
You can stay.
Charlotte continued, but only if you're ready to be different, like Aunt Sophia learned to be different, like Mom taught us to be. The courtyard had fallen silent. Even Emma was watching, something like respect flickering across her face. James looked at me, then at Sophia, then back at his daughter. For once his practiced charm failed him. Don't know how, he admitted. Start by listening. Charlotte said. That's what Aunt Sophia did. Start by caring about people more than money. That's what Mom taught her. My phone buzzed with a message from Henry. Board meeting in 19, bringing the new community initiative proposals. I need to go, I told Sophia. Board meeting. Take Charlotte. She said she should see this part too. What about? I nodded toward James. I'll handle my brother, she smiled. I've learned from the best. How to be firm with kindness. In the boardroom, Charlotte sat beside me as we reviewed proposals for expanding the education initiative. Her input was surprisingly insightful. We should ask the kids what they need, she suggested. Like you asked the workers what they needed. My phone lit up with a photo from Mia. James in the warehouse. Tie removed sleeves, rolled up, actually listening to Jack explain the toy-making project. Think he'll change. I texted back. Doesn't matter. Came her reply. We already did. After the meeting, Charlotte and I walked back to the courtyard. The party was winding down, but the sense of community lingered. Workers' children played on the new equipment, while their parents chatted with Sophia.
Emma.
And yes, even James, who looked slightly less polished but somehow more real. Mom. Charlotte squeezed my hand. Are we rich now? I looked around at the happy faces, the sense of purpose, the bridges built from the ashes of revenge. We're wealthy. I corrected, but not because of money. My phone chimed one last time, a message from an employee's child. Thank you for my new schoolboy books. Now I can be smart like Charlotte. Sometimes the best endings aren't about winning or losing. They're about transforming the battlefield into common ground where everyone has a chance to become better than they were. And sometimes the greatest victory is watching your child teach others the lessons you fought so hard to. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories that inspire, move, and remind us all of the beauty in life's unexpected moments. Hit the notification bell so you never miss another heartwarming tale. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.